I was extremely upset, disappointed with Ferrari because Lewis's last year was such a bad thing to watch. And so now it is interesting to see that he is now in a competitive car. And we finally got that. We finally got that down. And then now the team, now I'm scared that the Ferrari team is not going to have the right strategy to handle the circumstances that they may be in because they're not necessarily dominating, especially between them and Mercedes. They'll have to fight, and strategy is going to be so important, I think, as I think about it right now for them. Like moving on through the season, strategy is so important. So now I'm like, fuck, I did not think about the team. I did not think about the strategy. I was just thinking about the race. Hamilton, is he fast enough? Leclerc, is he fast enough? Are they doing? And now I'm like, oh shit, is the team even got their shit together? Because the stuff that I saw last night with them not pitting, and I don't understand. And Amina, we talked about this during the race when we watched it last night. Why the heck do these people not take these free pits when they are readily available? What is the risk? What is the reward out of it? And I'm trying to understand. So if you are listening to this, please put this in the comments. Why are these teams not taking these free pits? Because that happened last season with McLaren. They thought they were trying to outsmart everybody, and everyone ended up pitting, and they ended up losing like their position because they didn't take the free pit. I would love to know, what is the strategy behind that? Because I'll go ahead and read this, and Amina, I'll let it get your response, because my feeling is that Ferrari failed Lewis yesterday. Ferrari failed Lewis yesterday. I really think they did, because he has done whatever he needed to do off season to get his mind back right after that disastrous season. He didn't get even on a podium. To finally be in a position to get back on a podium for the first race, and you guys do some amateur shit and don't pit. And I have a theory, and I know I'm going off, guys, because this is a rant, and this is what people click on. This is what people click on. They want these rants. Yeah. So it really disappointed me that they would do such a amateur or move, but I really think that Ferrari has not been in a position, and they were thirsty so much to just like stay number one. They couldn't fathom the idea of them being at the top and then going in the pits and then maybe losing positioning, then having to fight back. Because I think that's what McLaren did last season, that they're so thirsty to stay at number one. They're so thirsty to stay in a position that, or scared, that they forget about strategy over their thirst. I'm going to read this quote from particularly Lewis, and then, of course, Principal Fred. Lewis will go on to say this during the race: at least one of us should come in. So
that was your big reveal. That's what you were going to read. His radio check.
That was Lewis on the radio. Because Lewis is a vet at this point, so he knows better. And then so Fred, after the race, will go ahead and be questioned about it. And I got a quote from Fred, and this is what Fred went on to say. And this is him more so saying that I don't think that pit would have been an issue because Mercedes is moving so fast anyway. He was going to say, I think the pace of Mercedes was better than us. Even when they pitted, they were there or 4 tenths faster than us, and they kept this pace all the stint. Okay, probably we were able to fight a little bit more at the beginning, but perhaps pushing a bit more on the tires, and I have no regrets on the strategy, no regrets on the pace of today. We did a decent step compared to yesterday, and let's be focused on China. I'm going to call bullshit for something, but Amina, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, goddamn, you went on for 3 minutes. I have a lot of thoughts about the many different things that you said. I mean, we're Ferrari fans, but it's not like we're been in the paint with Ferrari for a long time. However, I am well aware that strategy is not their strength. It's not their strength. So, disappointed. Yes, I would have maybe obviously done a different thing, but I'm not surprised that Ferrari did something completely different. And because we're at the first race of the season, I'm going to give them some grace, because I actually agree. I don't think even if they pitted that they would have been able to maintain a lead or catch Mercedes. At one point of that race, Antonelli was P7, think he had pitted and ended up being like 8 seconds behind Leclerc and Hamilton, and then he passed all of them. He zoomed up the grid again. They do not have the speed that Mercedes has. So, not pitting, yes, it would have made sense, but it would not have. It didn't cost them a race. It may have cost Lewis a podium, but even that is highly debatable because
That what matters if Lewis is not going to get a
they're
podium.
so far ahead of the field with their car. So it's one thing when everybody pits and you stay out. That's what McLaren did. Not everybody pitted when they had that opportunity to pit the first time. And then the second time the pit lane was closed, so they couldn't have pitted. So again, yes, I would have made a different call, but ultimately I agree. I don't think it would have made much of a difference. This is a first race. Again, I think Ferrari have a lot of things to sort out in terms of, I would rather y'all, work out y'all strategy shit for sure, but bring some upgrades to the car so that we're not 6/10, 4/10 behind Mercedes and paints. Like, let's focus on, improving the aerodynamics of the car, bringing a better upgrade to the cars in China and these races coming forth. The strategy thing, the pitting thing, I think they'll figure it out. What I am heartened by, though, is that, we don't have a dummy. Lewis is in a much better position to be competitive because he has a race engineer that is actually encouraging to him, that's giving him the data that he's asking for, and that is pushing him to fight. So, compared to the disaster that was 2025, I'm not going to go ahead and jump out the window about, whether they should have pitted or not.
Well, again, based off of what I've seen, you take the free pit. And I understand the strategy because it came down to tires, and at one point it did seem like it might have even got to that point, but it didn't. And I just think that, again, I don't understand it. Again, if you can explain it in the comments, why are teams not taking the free pit when clearly there's an opportunity to do it? And I did say that I do think that Fred was on some bullshit, mainly because he's trying to, I think he has to come off like, yo, everything was cool. We have no regrets on our strategy. But if you
he's got a lot of y'all who's gonna say something very different.
but there was footage that definitely contradicted them being so confident, because if you watch, there was a time that the pit crew came out and was ready to receive one of the drivers, or if not both, and then they ended up going back in. So clearly there was some miscommunication. Clearly there was a moment where they weren't clear on what exactly they were going to do. So I just think that Fred trying to stand on 10 toes and act like, yo, this is what we meant to do, I think that is exactly wrong. And they even said, like, what's the strategy? We're going to stay to plan A. Again, I really think it came down to them just being scared of not being in that position. And so therefore they end up sabotaging their race.
Calm down. Obviously, I think the advantage of not pitting is staying out so that you could increase your lead against your competitor. So that's what they were. Hey, we don't.
You can never beat.
Man,
I have not seen anyone. I have not seen anyone beat a free pit. How long does an average pit take?
Just look at the race yesterday. At a certain point, everybody was like, hey, we're going to stay out on these tires. We think we can make these tires last. So there's obviously advantage of staying out when you can and not putting unnecessary laps on your tire. You stay out so that you can maintain your lead, so that you can increase the distance between you and your competitor, so that if you do need to pit, you have enough of a gap so that you can maybe come out and not lose as many places. Let's move on.
But
John, let's just please.
But that's what I'm saying. I have not seen any team beat a free pit.